record button, and we're gonna start our second session, AI at the Beach. It's a pilot series. We're doing to see what works for the community, what doesn't work for the community, the times, and so on. And what you'll like to see when we bring it as a permanent series in the fall. So Lisa will be doing the presentation today around CoPilot. There will be a demo as well, and we're recording it, and just like last time, we'll send out a video so you can follow steps by steps. So if we go to the next slide, so we're going to talk about CoPilot, do a quick demo, and then on the next slide, so why CoPilot? Why are we starting with CoPilot, Microsoft, and why aren't we going to like Gemini or ChatGPT or any other AI platform? Because majority of small businesses, they use Microsoft Suite. So learning how to use Microsoft Suite, AI features in your Excel or PowerPoint, or how to use it, even with ChatGPT, that is important. So when we did the initial, discussion, that's why we settled, on this session. If you want to learn about other AI tools and what's best to be used, in 3 weeks, we're going to have the session about all AI tools available on the market. It's July 10th. So please come, it's at 11 o'clock. Have your questions ready. We'll be answering them. So in Microsoft Pilot is your assistant. So who is in this room uses Microsoft? Okay, one person, okay, half of the room. Perfect, fantastic. So let me ask the question. On the levels, who thinks they're expert? And that's all, that's good?
On what level? Like,
On expert level, like
any
expert level.
Any expert.
Expert. Like you can say, Lisa, I got it.
20 years ago I was.
So intermediate level, yeah, and beginner, all of
What's
us.
the pre-beginner? What's that level?
So, and there is pre-beginner too.
Okay.
So
On
Lisa,
Microsoft, for sure, pre-beginner.
so Lisa got you. So without, any additional questions, the floor is all yours, Lisa.
So CoPilot, just so we understand, is designed by Microsoft for the Microsoft Suite. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So it does not train on your business data because it is within its own Office 365 tenant. So it has the compliance framework for GDPR, HIPAA, SOC 2, all of those things that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. There's data boundaries. This is important because the free versions of AI software like
Chatty.
thank you, not just ChatGPT, but Genesis and Perplexity and Claude, right. They're all free, they're all the language learning models, so they're not a secure tenant. Why does that matter? Okay, so we've built its own Microsoft's existing identity, their permissions, and their encryption structure. So what is it? It is a virtual AI assistant for Microsoft 365. That's what we're going to talk about today. There's also a couple other options. I'm not going to have time to go through those today, but we're going to talk about Microsoft apps. So it combines the large language learning models and Microsoft Graph, and it uses real-time app context to help you write and analyze and do automation. Okay. Any questions?
What is large language models in layman terms?
The way I like to describe it is the great big old melting pot where all the stuff goes into the pot and everybody has access to it that dips in to get it.
and how about Graph?
Graph is Microsoft's, one of Microsoft's backend.
Okay.
So Lisa, and tell them that they can ask questions during the presentation, but not during the demo.
We didn't talk about that. So definitely feel free to ask me questions now because that'll make me feel a lot more comfortable talking to y'all today. and you'll get a lot more out of it, but during the, presentation, when I'm doing the demo, kind of have a spiel to let me get through it and then ask whatever questions you're gonna ask. So I wanna make sure we get through it.
I am totally deaf in one ear, so I wouldn't mind if you were loud.
I will try to be loud, but when I get nervous, I get a little bit more
Oh,
quiet.
you're a rock star, you're a rock star.
Alright, I'll try to be louder.
Okay,
So CoPilot exists, and if you look in your Outlook, whether you have CoPilot or not, a subscription for it, up in the top right-hand corner, it says CoPilot on there. So Microsoft absolutely wants you to use their product. They're building it into all of the products at this point, so you can't really not use it. So Word summarizes, rewrites, and drafts content. And we love that we have that ability and we don't have to think about every single thing we want to write, but we do need to review it. Excel, you can analyze data, explain formulas. I'm going to show you can create some really cool graphs to go in your presentations. PowerPoint, this is my favorite. I use it all the time. Create slides. It helps apply themes to your slides. As a matter of fact, I did it today. This is developed that way. Outlook, it summarizes your email threads and drafts apply, so you can look at all of the emails from yesterday and it can summarize them for you. I'm going to show you that in Outlook today. Teams, it recaps meetings and suggests action items. The negative to that, you need to be careful what you say in these meetings. And then OneNote, it helps to organize data and ideas, and it helps to generate task lists for you.
So I've noticed that within PowerPoint, there's CoPilot, they also have their editor, and they both seem to suck in some ways.
So that's AI.
Well, it's like if I wanted to create a slide, if I have imported anything, it will manipulate those slides as well.
I haven't had that experience. That's interesting. So whenever I do any kind of, I use these all the time because it's so much easier than having to create everything from the start and then just go in and manipulate it so that it looks the way that I want it to at the end. So I have not experienced that.
Yeah, like if I take a Google Slides and I open it in PowerPoint and I'm like, can you redo this? Like, no, but I can summarize them. I don't need to summarize, I need a picture.
So are you using the free or are you using
Yes.
the pay?
Well, I mean, whatever the 360 personal is.
360 person?
Well, the 365, like, it has still a subscription to it, it's not 100% free. It's
Okay, okay.
7.
So that's still considered the free version
Oh.
because it's $20 per month to at least get ChatGPT, and if you want the CoPilot product, it is $30 per month to have
Oh, okay,
CoPilot.
so yes, I have a free CoPilot.
Okay, that's probably why.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I have a question about the Outlook, summarizing the threads. So if you're in like several conversations throughout the day, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it takes like that, like I do categorization in Outlook a lot. I'll take that thread and I'll throw it in a category. Is that what?
It can
does?
certainly summarize in that way as well, and I'll show you that in the demo that we're gonna do.
Okay, great.
And it also gives you references, so you can actually, like, there'll be like a number 1, a number 2, number 3, etc. And you can click on that, and it'll take you back to the detail to give you more detailed info of where it came from.
And how does it do with attachments?
I am not sure.
Document attachments. You don't know how it summarizes
I
them?
do not,
Okay.
no. In terms of through Outlook, I do
Mhm.
not.
Okay.
Good question, stop number 1. Good. No. So real world use cases, it's your executive assistant, so it does meeting summaries, presentations. Finance, it does the trend analysis and report generation, which I'm also gonna show you in Excel how it does that. Sales and marketing, I use this a lot too, helps put together email campaigns, and if you look on y'all, Facebook, they use that a lot as well, but you can tell from the little icons that they're using ChatGPT. For HR, you can do policy documents and job descriptions. I've used that for some of our policy creation, make it sound a little bit more professional. Again, I use the paid version, I do not use the free version, so you have to be careful what you upload into any of the AI models. And you can use it to draft legal contracts and summarize regulations, and Eugenia talked about this last time we had a meeting, that she has used it for some of her legal documents. I have also used it for some of my legal documents, just to change up some of the verbiage to make it sound more like a real person instead of a lawyer talking to you. So some of the benefits is that it saves time, it eliminates writer's block, and I know we've all had that situation where we don't know what we wanna say or what we wanna write. So it's like, inspire me, tell me something I can write. It helps to boost productivity and improves communication consistency. So you may have a certain way that you write, but if you put it into AI and say, clean this up, make it sound more professional, maybe you didn't say it in the right tone, it will help you change up that tone just a little bit. Any questions? Okay. So the security part, this is where I like to live, this is the security part. So, since you are in an enclosed tenant, your own Microsoft 365 tenant, it keeps everything inside the walls. So you can just imagine gates, walls, etc. So it is compliant with GDPR, HIPAA, SOC, as I mentioned before, and it has role-based permissions. So if you're putting information into the share drive or OneDrive, Brandon and I may be sharing a file, but Clark is not supposed to have access to it. So it's going to recognize that those permissions are set already, and it's not going to allow you to access something that you shouldn't have access to.
Microsoft's really been on the leading edge of that for at least a decade.
Exactly.
Being able to silo things and share things with some, but not all.
So I will say that they have the security in place and they have been that leader, but if you don't have it configured correctly, like with anything else, then you're gonna open yourself up to issues. There was actually a company just recently who deployed CoPilot across the whole company, and everybody had access to CoPilot. So you certainly need to do an assessment, and we do help with those assessments, and they are free assessments that we do for customers.
Question. Is there a difference in the privacy and protections between the free and the paid?
Yes. Because with the paid, the only way to use CoPilot is through the paid version of it, which is $30 per license per month. So that keeps everything within the tenant, whereas anything that's not paid is gonna be wide open into the big pot.
Your information you put in there, if it's free, it goes out to everybody else.
Everybody else can use it. Anybody that wants to can use it. So don't put financials in there.
Easy question.
Yeah.
Why'd they pick the word tenant?
I don't know, but that's geek speak, I guess.
In no way means container or firewall to me. It's a tenant.
Cause that was created before CoPilot. Right, it's just the Office 365 tenant. It's your space.
Okay. Oh, you're a tenant of Office 365.
I guess so.
I get the connection now.
Sounds better than Ledger.
Yeah, right.
Because it is a subscription, so you really are renting. So what's next, as I mentioned, you can schedule your personalized assessment. Again, we do that, we do it in conjunction with Microsoft, so there is a Microsoft person that works with us to do those. You can get tailored demos. I can have Microsoft also do those tailored demos for you. I can do some of them. You may want me to get a Microsoft person to help you. We help you understand the license requirements and then help you plan the rollout so that you don't get yourself in a situation where everybody has access to private documents. Okay? So I'm going to do a live demo. And here is my contact info. I'll try to put it up again before the end of our presentation today.
But you're emailing this out anyway, correct?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay. So, going to set the scene. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm in the hotel room. My company uses Teams for meetings. Okay. I need meeting notes to share with the team so I can track all the tasks that we have to do. Because not only am I traveling, but I have all the other stuff that I have to do for my job that I have to keep up with. Okay. So Microsoft Teams can generate a script. It helps do those main points. So we're going to click on CoPilot. We still have all of our team, we sit down here, we wanna recap the meeting so far. So it's putting together the output.
You're recording the meeting the whole time,
It is.
so you go into the meeting, make sure you hit record.
You can, yeah, and sometimes you don't have to even record, it's just part of the CoPilot
Okay.
product itself. It's a little different,
So it's listening is what you're saying.
it is,
Okay.
that's why I said,
Mine says it
you have to be
didn't-
careful,
Yeah.
so you have to be careful what you say during this meeting. So here, after we have, we wanted to get a recap, now we wanna know, how does the group feel about the inventory status that's associated? Okay, I'm not gonna go through and read the recap here. But as you can see, it is now recapped, we need renewable energy, blah, 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 blah. So the next thing we wanna know, oh, it didn't generate, sorry. How does the group feel about the inventory status? So then it goes through and it gives us a summary of how everybody feels about the inventory status. So next, what's unresolved? What needs to be done now?
So you're typing in the prompt, what's unresolved,
In the demo, it's already here.
but you would have to, as an individual,
You
cue
can.
that prompt.
You can, but it also has prompts for you, see?
Okay,
That's suggestion.
that's
Who's gonna see your script there? Who sees it, you or everybody?
Everybody can see that. Yep. Yep. So here we
Everybody can see
have,
what's going in CoPilot and coming out right now.
yeah, they can see all of this. Yep.
Or is there a way,
Deputy talk.
can you make it to where it's not everyone, and you say you just want few decks so you can create discussion?
It's a good question. I haven't tried to do that, so
I thought
I would
so.
say most likely that you can, but I haven't tried it.
So
Like
it's
a
a conversation on the
Yeah, like make
side.
it,
Yeah.
private to yourself.
Cause you don't want everybody to know what's coming through on your mind, so.
Well, pretty soon they're.
No, so you can see it's super smart.
Well, so you kind of create the moderator role
Right.
to, yeah.
So here we are, we have the, all right, now I got me here, okay. So we got all the questions that people had concerns about, that were the questions that were unresolved, that need to be addressed, okay? All right, so that came from the Teams meeting. So the next thing that we wanna do is that we want to, summarize email threads in our Outlook, as I mentioned before, you were asking questions, you had great questions about that. So we're gonna click on Outlook and bring that up. And you see right here, normally what I mentioned to you before, that the CoPilot is gonna be right here in the corner of your Outlook. All right, so we want a summary about CoPilot. So you see right here, we have all these emails here from Kevin Sturgis. And then you see that there's a reference right here, that you can click on this reference. And it takes you into the detail of the email, so you get more than just the summary. I don't know.
How often does CoPilot hallucinate with all of this?
I don't know.
What was the question?
Hallucination. Hallucinates.
Is
But
that-
might hallucinate on actual like emails?
Yeah, which means you could get some really messed up things from your colleagues.
You can. You can.
So you
How do I
said-
bring my meeting in there and then discuss the,
I'll show you in just a few minutes for this last part.
so it's cross-platform?
Yes, it is cross-platform. So now, it's 9:00, we've already started, you remember we started at 7, we had a meeting, we already checked all of our emails from yesterday. We're really getting it done, we're getting all this stuff done, and we're still in a hotel room, getting our work done, getting ready to go to a conference, go to a lunch. So now it's about 9:00, I still have a proposal that I need to do, okay? So I'm gonna generate a construction planning document, and it's already based on documentation that we have in place already, so I'm not having to recreate that at this point. So we're gonna click on draft, and we're gonna pull the file that we're gonna base it off of, and it's the construction planning document. And then we'll click generate. And it is thinking and writing and creating this nice document. And then we look at it, we decide if we like it. We can discard it. We can tell it to try again because we didn't like what it said. Or we can keep it, and for the sake of the demo today, we're gonna keep it. Well, not only are we gonna keep it, but we wanna add some more stuff to it. We wanna add some additional information into the body of the letter, of the proposal. So you see right here, it is creating, it's going to create documentation where either I can write it myself or I can have it to inspire me for documentation. So we're gonna do inspiration. You can also pull in another file if you want to pull in another file into the document. So again, you can throw it away. You can regenerate it because you didn't like what it said. It's not real, or it's not close enough to what you were trying to say. Or you can keep it.
So can I ask you a question? Did you already train it on your voice? Like, so that it sounds like you?
No, I did
Okay.
not. I have not.
Okay,
But you can,
okay.
yes. For the demo, I have not.
But you could do that, you
Yes.
can train it with other prior things you wrote?
Yes.
Okay,
And you can also pull in another file that you've already prepared as well, and it will pull that into the report or into the proposal itself, and make it sound even more like you. Now, even though you've already put this document together, read it, go through it, make sure it's what you want it to say, and it's not sounding somewhere out in left field, like when we were in college and had to write papers and stuff, when we were distracted. So just make sure that you read over anything that you have AI to generate for
So
you.
when you cue it to rewrite, are you able to apply a specific prompt to the rewrite?
I think that you can, yes,
Okay.
yes. All right, so now we've gotten our proposal done. Again, we are rocking our morning. It is 10 o'clock. It took us an hour to do that, less than an hour to do that proposal with AI. So just imagine if we had to write that ourselves without assistance from an AI agent. Okay, so now we want to do a PowerPoint. So we're going to transform this document into a PowerPoint. If I can get my clicker. So we want to select a document that we already previously created. So we're getting started. And so what we're going to do is we're going to transform a file. Okay, that's just the command. Transform a file. And it's going to be the intelligence designed to amplify. I was doing one of these demos for another group of people, and the gentleman out in the audience said, "I cannot read that. I did not bring my glasses. Can you please read it to me?" So if I'm reading it to you and you're wondering why, it's just because I'm trying to make
Thank
sure
you.
that
I
you
didn't
understand it.
I can read that just fine.
Quick question, instead of clicking here, there, and all that kind of stuff, because that always gets convoluted, can you just talk to it?
I do not know the answer to that question. Do you know, Eugenia?
I know that you can talk to ChatGPT, probably there is a voice option.
I would imagine because
Can on the phone.
maybe.
That's
Yes,
how-
both.
that's operating
Yes.
system.
The answer is
The
yes.
answer is yes.
Awesome, because I am really, I always take technology and throw it out the window when I have to do too much clicking.
Do too much thinking.
Cause you gotta know where those clicks go to and all that kind of stuff, so if I tell it, "Can you please start this presentation and pull this document out," it should be able to do that for me.
But that's
You use the
beautiful.
voice to text is, I think Windows H, and you can just talk to it.
Yeah.
That's operating system level.
I love what it created.
I know, it looks awesome.
You pulled
doesn't
that
it?
from a Word document,
It's
correct?
super,
Yes.
yes. It is super professional looking, I agree. I think so too. So now that we have created our PowerPoint, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go into Excel. Okay?
And you could probably upload your brands for the PowerPoint as well, so it can create it in your brand as well, colors and,
Yeah.
yeah, beautiful.
Is it possible to see more of the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I'm kinda curious, like, what it decided to,
I know, I thought the same thing, I was like, let me see some more of these really cool designs, but the demo doesn't allow you to do that.
So, my question, have you used this like, a lot? Have you, why I'm asking is, how much revision do you, like, on a PowerPoint, this is pretty slick. If it could literally cut my deck time in half, or to a tenth, that would be amazing, but how much do you go in and tweak when you use this?
So I am the type A personality, so I do a lot of revision. So it gives me a really great base and a good, really good place to start. But then I have my own data that I want to add in, and I have my own voice in which I want to put it in, and I know how that I speak to a group of people, and I want to make sure that when I get up in front of you, that I sound like I know exactly what I'm talking about, and that it sounds good, and it sounds like something I would write, as opposed to having some sort of really formal type of wording that's in the presentation, which is not how I talk at all. Right, so
And have you seen this cut some time off though?
It absolutely, there's like half a day
Okay.
that I cut off of things, right? Yeah. And it's also allowed me to do things that I did not know how to do before, so it's really, really cool that we have that capability.
So if I train it for my voice, will it add the ums?
It might miss all that part, and it doesn't spell. Absolutely, it doesn't spell, so you do have to check that. And as a matter of fact, whenever it's created some graphics, I've had 3 arms in the graphics. I've also had compliance misspelled, and I've also told it to, you have to spell it correctly, and it tells me I am spelling correctly, and I answered it not in English language, you're not spelling it correctly, but I know how to spell.
All caps are on this.
So I do have those conversations with our AI products.
Yeah, I do too.
I
Last
feel
night I
like
was
I'm not-
guaranteed solution, this will work. I said, well, you said that before, I said, are you gonna buy me a cookie if this one doesn't work?
Right.
And he says, at this point, I owe you a box of cookies.
So you can't view like page 2 and 3 there?
No,
Oh, I'm on the same graph.
I know, right, cause they look really, really good, I couldn't think the same thing. I tried it earlier because I was like, oh, let's scroll through, and it won't load.
Yeah. That's sad. Teases us on the side.
It's teasing you, and this is my.
Right, so it encourages you,
But I have to
inspires
be
you.
careful about what data I put, because I have free version.
Yes.
Yes, exactly, yes. So let's show some Excel magic.
Yes.
Let's see it.
So the next thing we're gonna do, I have 20 minutes left, okay, cause I'm gonna go to lunch with some of my colleagues, so I want to do, some data analysis, I wanna do a spreadsheet for the finance department, I wanna create some charts, I wanna do some visual graphs and all that cool stuff for the presentation as well. And then it's gonna, what I'm gonna do is gonna give you some prompts and get it started, okay? Setting the scene for you on what we're gonna do next. So we're gonna go into Excel, and this really cool graph just came from that PowerPoint presentation. So, while I really like this, it looks really good, I wanna take these decimal points out of this column. See right here, don't show decimal points for the sales amounts, right? So that's what I told it to take off.
So instead of you going up and clicking over for that column,
It's done automatically because I told it to do it for me. And you see right
And
here,
it did it on both columns.
yep, all the decimal points have been removed.
Isn't it, well, that's the word sales.
Yep.
So now, you see right here, it also tells you what it did. Okay. So now, I wanna highlight all the sales that are over 500K. I wanna highlight it, so I don't have to go through the list and do it myself, it's gonna do it for me automatically.
Oh, conditional formatting done for you.
Yes. Yes. So, and it also tells you right here, what I did, created the sale value, blah, blah, blah. So now, we wanna show insights, we wanna show the graphs. Okay, look at there. It created a graph. So now, not only did it create it, I wanna add it into my presentation, into my Excel spreadsheet.
Will it take that graph and put it back in your PowerPoint?
I don't know, I have not tried to do that.
You can, yes, it was even in the old PowerPoint, you can pull it from Excel. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
but I was thinking easier than the like.
Manually.
Like the manual stuff, right?
So if you see right here, it has created these really nice graphs to go along on sheet number 2, to go along with the proposal for the finance department. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. It is really great, because I've never, ever really figured out how to do these graphs whenever I'm doing the proposals anyway, so it's nice to have it done for me automatically. Little insight, maybe I didn't wanna do that. Alright, so
Are you
next.
sure to pick the right graphs though? That's
Well, you have it right here, it tells you what you did, but again, you need to review the data to make sure that it is the data that you want, and just don't assume that I'm all done and that it did it for me, so you have to look at it and make sure that the data's pulled over that you want it pulled over.
It's not even just about the data, it's also about like, would a pie chart have been more acceptable than a bar graph versus?
You can tell it to do that.
Okay.
It probably uses the most typically used,
Yep.
but can you still right click and set properties and switch it to a
Yes.
part?
Right, or like change the,
Not in the demo, but
what is it?
Not right, cause it's a.
yes.
Okay.
Alright, so we have finished our proposal, we went to lunch, we did all that in 20 minutes, that was pretty cool.
So we're
We
done
had-
for the day?
No, we're not done for that. We got back, we had lunch, still a little sleepy from the cards, but now we have to get back to work, and so we have another project that we're gonna work on, it's called ReliCloud. So with this project, we're gonna do milestones, we're gonna do risk, we're gonna do mitigations, we're gonna do a SWOT analysis with the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay. Alright, so go in here. Alright, so now we're in Teams. So, it has prompts for you, as we talked about before, or you can type in your own. So we wanna know what are the upcoming milestones for the project ReliCloud.
That's just a made up project, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
No, this is my job here. It's I'm working on the ReliCloud project.
The real cloud
It's
project.
not made up.
RELE, ReliCloud.
Fishing.
Yeah, that's enough. So you see right here, it has the project plan, and you'll see right here that it has a reference point. So if we wanna get that, this is summarized, but if we wanna know any of the detail, we can click on the number 1 reference, and it'll take us into that detail. Okay? It's basically your source documents. Alright, so next we wanna keep on going because we've already done number 1, so now we wanna know what the risks are, because I told you we were gonna do milestones, risks, mitigations, and SWOT. So the next one is going to be taking its time. We're gonna do risks here. As you can see, it's created 2 documents, DocX, a ReliCloud risk mitigation, and a project plan. Okay, and it has references 1 and 2. So the summaries, you can go and click on those links again and bring up the detail for the reference material. So next, we're going to do mitigations. And it says, suggest some mitigations for these risks. And look, it does. It tells us things that it thinks that we should be doing to relegate those or mitigate those risks. And again.
Is it pulling this information from its past training data,
It's
or is it like potentially searching the internet?
It's it's inside of my tenant, so it is not outside of the tenant, it's exclusively inside of SpartanTech.com,
Okay.
okay? And that's why you have the paid version of Office 365.
So it's your enterprise data.
Okay.
Yes, so it's not pulling from the language learning models.
Okay.
Okay, so now that we have the, risks and the mitigations, we're now going to put a message together to send out to our team via email. Basically, we're giving them the highlights of what they need to do, what we want them to do. So we're putting it together in an email to send to them. So you see, here is our message. And it includes the reference points as well. Cool. Now we're gonna generate that SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, okay? Just a reminder. So now I just put together that list as well, put together that analysis. And it labeled on the sides. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats.
So can I just ask one question? Unlike what you did in Outlook, or was it Word, that you actually gave it the document you wanted to write the proposal, or what you wrote in Word. This is actually looking through.
This is actually a project that I've already told it that it's gonna be the RealiCloud project, and I don't have to keep telling it over and over again.
But did you like point it to like a directory file that may have like a bunch of documents inside that folder?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's.
And it does not specify that in this demo, so that's a really good question, but yes, that's exactly what happened.
Which was different than giving it one file.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
So can you ask this to search any specifics throughout your entire OneDrive folder? Like, does CoPilot have access if you have a shared OneDrive folder?
So, the answer to that is yes and no, so it depends on what your permissions are within the tenant itself. It's only going to pull data that you have permissions for.
But assume you have permissions, yes.
Then the answer is yes. Yes.
Cool.
Maybe,
I don't know.
maybe.
Might need a OneDrive extension or something.
Alright, so again, you mentioned that it has, the summary pieces for it as well, okay? And so you can click on that. And so guys, that is pretty much the demo for the Microsoft apps pieces to it. There is another one that is associated with OneDrive, which I did not have access to be able to show you today, which man, I wish that I could have, because you had great questions about it. But, again, I want to mention to you that it's super, super important that if you decide that you wanna go and use Microsoft CoPilot, definitely want that privacy. You wanna keep it within your tenant. You do not want to be putting your information out on the web for
Where do you
anybody.
set that permission?
You purchase the license.
Well, so you purchase the license and then you automatically know.
No, that's where the assessment comes into place, so we can determine what the security is set, if it's set at the right places, so we're not accidentally
So you can do that on your own though?
We do that with Microsoft. If you know how to do it, the answer is yes. If you do not, then you need to have that third-party person.
Got it. Okay, that wasn't clear.
Yep.
Will it take this chat that you've done and then like, could you take all of the stuff you just did in like the SWOT analysis and have it, go put it into pretty graphics over on another page?
I absolutely believe that you can definitely do that. I do not know how to do that, but the answer is I absolutely believe you can.
The other part of what CoPilot will do, for anyone who's deep in the Microsoft realm, the amount of hours it can save you with one small formula error. Again, and if you're compiling multiple documents to build dashboards or whatever, I can't tell you how many times a space has thrown a complete VLOOK up into a, error, columns of errors, especially from multiple forms. So that can identify it almost instantly, and in many cases actually fix it for you.
And we have actually used that with some of the scripts that we use from our technical team. We'll actually take some scripts or ask for ways in which to fix some sort of configuration that is not quite working. We did it just recently with a website. We were having issues getting it uploaded into GoDaddy, and we were like, well, why is it not working? So we went in and used it, and it told us why it was not working, and we were able to remediate based on that. Otherwise, it would have taken hours, and it took
If anyone's ever done merger and queries and had to sort columns, if you're pulling from 3 or 4 different sources, that could be a day-long project that's now 30 minutes.
Exactly. So I'll also reiterate to you again, we started at 7 o'clock in the morning with our meeting. We did all these really cool things. We had lunch with our colleagues. We worked on that proposal. We got these analysis done, and we were super, super efficient for the day. And now we can go home and have a cup of coffee.
And play on ChatGPT.
Play on ChatGPT. All right, everybody good?
that you were showing. That seemed like it was very useful in terms of like things you can already do, but just simplifying it,
Yes.
expediting it. Can I upload like, a CSV file that has hundreds of lines of data and ask it to actually analyze, like, hey, look at this period of time versus this period of time and tell me if you see any.
Absolutely, you can do that.
Okay.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely, you can do that. And it's a whole lot faster.
Empty pivot tables and.
It's a whole lot faster than you having to review it yourself, right? So-
Yes, ma'am.
But then again, even though it gives you that output, you still have to validate it. Okay. Well, we have, about 15 minutes left till the top of the hour, and I know that they have another group coming in here at 5 till, so have a few more minutes of questions, if you have any other questions or any comments. That's the fun part.
And I had a question from a Luddite. Because I don't trust a lot of stuff, and because I'm so old and I've lived through iterations of this for 50 years, I have Microsoft 365. I hate it personally. I don't like Microsoft nor Google for that matter. So I buy my own Microsoft. I buy the Word or the Microsoft Office
Perpetual.
platform, yeah, because I want to have backups. Can CoPilot hook into that?
Could hook into the perpetual license?
Into my downloaded and purchased Microsoft Word program.
On desktop.
So there's a couple different ways, right? So I wanna make sure I answer your question correctly.
Well, I'm not
The
sure.
new model with Microsoft is they want everything subscription based, so you
I
pay
know
on
that,
a
that's why I don't
monthly
like
basis.
it.
Well, I know, I agree, I don't disagree with you. But that is what this is designed for,
I know.
is for that.
I have that, but I don't use it.
So, it sounds to me like you have purchased a copy of Microsoft
I did.
and you are using that version.
That's
So
what
I do not know if you were to purchase a CoPilot license, if it would link with that or not, because it's not with the subscription base that they use, because they use, no matter, with the subscription model, you get the latest and greatest
I know.
as soon as it comes out.
You can sound like a Microsoft salesperson.
No, it's just, I don't
Don't
know.
they have a Microsoft desktop, Copilot desktop version? That doesn't come with 365?
That I'm aware of.
Cause they're always trying to sell it to me.
I don't know of that, I have
It
not
comes
seen
with my
that.
notifications, and they're not using Copilot yet?
So that's part of your subscription,
Yeah.
right?
I don't have a subscription.
You don't have a subscription with 365?
I'm still getting notifications that
Interesting.
purchase Copilot. So I'll check it out.
Are you
Very
using anything
good.
inside of
According to
Microsoft?
Google, it does not sound like you can do it.
No, I barely use Windows.
I asked Google if you could link it to a downloaded version of Microsoft. It does not sound like you can.
I don't think so either.
I don't think it has that backward compatibility with that, because it's not with the model that they want. you to
Well, the
use.
software relies on your desktop,
It is,
so it becomes
it's
difficult to.
downloadable,
Yeah.
but if you don't, renew your subscription, at some point, whenever you try to log back into it, it's not going to allow you to log in.
To jump ahead on that question, Aaron, if there was a way to add an extension to your perpetual license, you might as well have Office 365.
Probably.
Oh, I have.
Because the AI is gonna add a
If
conduit.
I wanna use
and-
this, I'll use it, but,
Yeah.
because I have so much junk on my computer, it's amazing, but.
Right, but you keeping things confidential to yourself,
I
and
do.
buying a perpetual, if you open the conduit for Copilot,
Yeah.
you might as well get Office 365, because it's gonna have access to it.
And this is what concerns me. I look at everything from a moral injury perspective. And this is a military background. You know, we could target, stuff 30 years ago, with using fundamental computer programs, but you kill a lot of people who probably aren't supposed to be dead. The same thing happens in business. You can have a whole lot of collateral damage when your business's information becomes open to the world.
Yes, exactly.
And this is partly why.
That's intellectual property, right?
Huh?
Intellectual property is.
Well, that's what I would call that to myself, when you're talking about with your teams, you know, after a while, your teams are gonna say, what the hell do we need her for? You know?
Well, I actually talked to a CPA yesterday. He's absolutely hilarious. I love this guy. He said, I wrote a script. I wrote AI to do my job for me. He said, and he works in for said that they are putting in 150 hours, 200 hours a month. He's like, I put in 19 and did the same thing that they did, because he had AI to write it. He's like, it's pretty soon, you're not even gonna need a CPA, and I'm like, well, I don't mind not paying for it, but at this point I still do, so that's where we are.
Yeah, I understand.
But is AI gonna be able to see the shades of gray that CPA can for business owners?
No.
Well, it depends, right? So the answer is, I think that you have to look at every single piece of data that comes out, because you cannot trust it,
Right.
because there has to be
So it's like
accountability.
AI will become the or CPAs will be the supplement to AI, not vice versa.
I think so too. Yeah, I think so too. It was very interesting having that conversation with him, that he took the initiative to write it himself.
Can CoPilot, inside Word, create macros?
I would say it probably can, but I have never tried that, so I don't know the answer to your question. Man, y'all are.
Or the
I think so.
spreadsheet macros.
And I was gonna say, if not today, then by tomorrow, probably.
Yes.
Everybody's listening and talks about it.
Okay, and is it, does it also integrate with Access, the database application?
I've never seen it integrate with Access. Never have. And none of the demos or none of the documentation, I've never seen.
And I just asked it what else it can incorporate with, so planner, forms, all the other base products inside of Office. And I just asked it what would be the pieces to use for an efficient workflow. And said,
Microsoft still making Access?
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
the first thing it's
I
gonna
checked
tell
to
you
see if
is
it
to
was
stop
still
using
available.
Access.
Yeah.
So, did you say the CoPilot comes with the paid 365?
You have to pay for a license for CoPilot.
Well, they pushed it
I just-
out, like I have, if I want, I don't have it turned on, but if you want to keep your information private, then you pay for the next tier.
Right.
Okay,
Yes,
not the free tier, that
Correct.
comes with your paid subscription.
correct.
Okay.
Just like using ChatGPT, you have to use a paid subscription to be able to keep it in a private tenant.
They're just giving it to you for free so you get hooked on
That is true, and it will become in Windows
it.
11.
I call it the
Regular philosophy.
No, but.
crack deal marketing plan.
Yeah, but I
Let
already
me
have
give you my
that.
product for free and you get hooked on it and come back and pay.
No, but that's my problem, I'm hooked on ChatGPT, that I can't go into CoPilot because it talks different than I've already trained and spent 2 years training ChatGPT. That it's very hard to switch over to use CoPilot, because I tried, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like reversing 2 years of work
So you know that Microsoft purchased ChatGPT?
recently, right?
Yes, within the last couple of years, which I just found out.
That was a few years back.
Yeah, but then why is it not, like, so I can link my ChatGPT into
Can I pay one price for
I do not know the
Okay, I'll
answer to that
look that up.
question.
Because that's what I
But
thought.
that would make the most sense,
I
right?
would love to use this, but it does feel like I'm starting over and I've done so much work in ChatGPT.
Because you trained it, yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah, I have
Their
to.
purchase is more because they wanted intellectual property rights to the code, and then all of a sudden, there were big upgrades happening to CoPilot.
Yeah.
Which they could do without that education.
Right.
Remembering back I was getting those notifications because I actually use GitHub, which is a Microsoft product now, and VS Code.
Yep.
So that's what it was pitching me.
All right, guys.
This is awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have more questions.
Thank you.